Hey everyone.
Hello there. I'm Colleen McMillan, Jedi Master and Rebel Scum collaborator.
And I am Pirate Jedi and Hondo Naka crew member, Anders Drew.
We truly run the gambit here in terms of rank, from Padawan to Knight and apparently Pirate to Master. But no matter what rank you carry, one thing remains constant: much to learn we still have.
Yes, so today we have a special event episode because we were surprised this morning by the Mandalorian Season 2 trailer. It's 2020, we don't get nice things that often.
No.
We're just really excited.
It's so glorious.
So here today we're going to do a short breakdown of the trailer, give you some of our reactions, and a little light to heavy predicting.
Yep.
As always, this episode contains spoilers, so if you want to watch the trailer first, if you haven't been obsessed with it all day, don't listen anymore.
We have.
Yeah. Go watch it, come back, and if you're ready to dive in, grab a drink from the cantina, sit back and unwind as we engage your mind, enjoying Jon Favreau's epic creation.
Yes.
That being said, let's punch it.
And as kind of is clear from the Armor of Speech, the major plot point arc for Season 2 is very likely, if not unequivocally, attempting to deliver Baby Yoda to the Jedi. We're kind of going scene by scene. So, Colleen, why don't you start us off with that glorious first scene, since you are our master?
Yes, the opening scene, scene 1, we see a gorgeous water planet kind of off in the distance. And then there's this kind of reddish, brown, greenish, maybe swampy looking planet kind of that Mando's ship, the Razor Crest, is flying over to get to the beautiful blue planet. The ship does not look great, guys.
Nope.
It does not look okay. The right engine looks like it's on the fritz. It's kind of like sputtering out. And then the cargo hold door is open to the vacuum of space.
Yeah, not a great dad mobile at all. So while the imagery is gorgeous, you know that they are absolutely in trouble. And
yes.
I like to think, whether this was intentional or not, if this was in our galaxy, it almost looked like Mando was flying over Mars and heading to Earth. And so
trying to get to the good planet.
Yes. And so I wanted us to predict
water, obviously.
One with water.
A little bit what planet it is that he's heading to. Is it Mon Cala? And help me with these pronunciations in case I botch them. Anders, why don't you take it? Because I don't want to embarrass myself.
So if it's not Mon Cala, maybe it's Takodana, which we were introduced to in the sequel trilogy where Maz's castle is. Or is it somewhere entirely new?
Could be.
Yeah. I personally think that it's Mon Cala based off of later scenes
the rest of the trailer.
In the trailer, just because of how blue it appears. So kind of see
it's a water planet, y'all.
Yeah, so like when we talk
Definitely
about scene 5, think this is why Sara thinks that it's Mon Cala. Anders, go ahead.
I think that idea makes sense, especially based on what we see later on. Although the other water planet we have seen already is Kamino. I don't think that the reddish planet makes sense for it to be Kamino. But just to throw out another possibility, I'm throwing out the idea that it could be Yavin 4, which is where the Rebel base was in A New Hope.
And an old
saw it
Jedi
again in
temple
Rogue One. It's got a Jedi temple. We know that the Jedi are going to start playing at least kind of overarching role in this season, so it would make sense if you're on a fact-finding mission.
The ghost of the Jedi.
Yeah.
This could be a logical place.
So, I mean, either way, and we'll dive into scene 5 a little bit more. Mando's ship is unequivocally in rough shape, so I'm predicting that within the first 3 episodes, we're probably going to see a pretty big scrap that I think we also see in the trailer that we'll get to in scene 6, where there's the X-Wings. So could the X-Wings have done this? I don't know. But the next scene that we get to is Grunge City.
You must reunite it with its own kind.
filled with graffiti. There's street lamps, and it looks pretty freaking realistic. You see various pictures of droids and people crossed out, which I really think is
eerie.
It's such a cool touch of realism that also makes you like kind of on edge. It is not a welcoming place that you'd want a youngling, a foundling in at all.
Very forbidding place.
They've done this so well. They did this in season 1 with just those actual kind of physical realism touches on things. I mean, their backgrounds have been entirely more or less digital. Like if you haven't gone back and watched like the behind the scenes stuff of how they pulled off all that stuff with the game engines and everything, it's so cool.
Where would people see that if they're like
that is on Disney Plus?
On Disney Plus.
In the gallery.
It's the gallery series. Yes.
Right. Okay, perfect. So what I'd like us to do now, since I consider this speech, and clearly the creators also considered it to be so pivotal, Anders and Colleen, would you mind doing the Armorer and Din right now? Because over this imagery and over the imagery of later scenes, the Armorer begins relaying this pivotal speech that I think is really the keystone of what this whole season is going to be about. You must reunite Baby Yoda with whom? So go ahead, Colleen. Start us off.
And of course, she has to be like super vague because she might be part Jedi herself. Yoda would be.
It's Star
so
Wars.
Envious.
Straight answers are not a thing.
Yoda is like sitting there being like, "Yes, girl, yes. No information. This is fantastic." Okay, here we go. Armorer, quote: "Show me the one whose safety deemed such destruction. You must reunite it with its own kind."
Where?
"This you must determine.
Thanks.
The songs of eons past tell of battles between Mandalore the Great and an order of sorcerers called Jedi."
Do you expect me to search the galaxy and deliver this creature to a race of enemy sorcerers?
This is the way.
And you know what? I will say, interestingly, the Armorer doesn't agree in season 1 that they're enemy sorcerers. She says, not this one. So I would like to think, and maybe this is me just projecting into the Force, I would really like to think that the Armorer is signaling and teaching and instructing as a mentor, like, it doesn't have to be that way. This is the way. You as a dad bring, like, our desire to protect foundlings is what's going to truly be carrying this forward. So until you reunite them with one family, you are that clan of 2. I love that. Season 2, clan of 2.
Just because they're a Force wielder doesn't necessarily mean they're an enemy or a villainous Jedi sorcerer. I mean, a Force wielder can be a lot of things. So she, of course, is kind of hedging her bets here, especially if she's who we maybe think she is or what
I was
she
actually going to say, Colleen, where do you stand on?
Yeah, everyone's
have
hinting.
Have we met the Armorer before? What do you think? Who do you think she is?
I think it's possible. I think there are 3 options. I think she could be Rookcast, who was a member of Maul's Mandalorian kind of squadron. She could be Sabine. Probably not. She seems a little older. She could be Ursa Wren. So I'm going to throw in another Wren just in case, because I would love it if it was Ursa Wren. That'd be great. But the main theory is that it's Bo-Katan.
I don't think it's Bo-Katan.
I don't think it is either, just because of the Katie Sackhoff rumors. And they're using the voiceover of this other actress from the original season.
Yeah.
So that kind of more points to the Rookcast option, maybe. And that is why she's hiding her face. And why she kind of perpetuates this hiding of the face. Like, maybe she knows Bo-Katan is out there and people who are Mandalorian have to hide their faces in order to keep Bo-Katan safe, or in order to keep herself safe. Because it does seem to just come out of nowhere. Because the Mandalorians in the other series are taking off their helmets willy-nilly.
And the other piece I just always find interesting about this voiceover is they're talking about the Jedi as though they are this like bygone legend, and I'm like, guys, it's only been like 20 years, like,
but you know what,
we do not talk about 1990, holy shit.
I know, I was thinking that, I'm like,
as this thing that no one remembers anything about that is currently alive.
I don't know.
Right.
There was just a doll that came out that had to do with like the 1980s
American Girl
historical
doll.
doll.
There's
So
American
like,
Girl historical.
yeah,
It was the
so
80s.
like, I both know what you're saying, Anders, and I also don't know what you're saying. But what I do know that we should be saying is what's going on in scene 3. Why don't you hit us off with scene 3, Anders?
Where? This you must determine.
After we get our nice little image of Baby Yoda for the first time, because cue the cuteness, we switch over, and now we have this gorgeous bantha with the Tusken Raider. So cue our instincts. We are back on Tatooine.
Yep.
And
Never been there before.
And the Razor Crest is in much better shape than that opening scene. So whether this is before it's been repaired, we're not sure. We know Tatooine is very saturated with Jedi.
Yep. It is not a bad place to look if you're trying to find Force users, if that's on your mind. Yeah.
Luke,
Especially
Anakin.
if he finds out that Luke is from Tatooine.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, Luke, Anakin, Old Ben. I mean, the
Ezra made his way there at some point.
Ezra's been there. I mean, there's just so much there. And little Baby Yoda could be pulled toward it, too.
Also, if we're going to see Boba Fett, that is the last time we saw him.
Yep.
I really like how, I mean, some people might complain, oh, we've been here before, but I really like how
Tatooine's the nexus. You have to keep coming back.
Yes, it really ties everything all together. And I think that's a very nice keystone location for Force users and for this quest. It just makes sense to me. And you know what also makes sense to me? Another scene with Baby Yoda, especially on fresh, beautiful snow, being the epitome of cute AF.
The songs of eons past tell of battles between Mandalore the Great.
So let's talk about scene 4, where for like a hot beat, we see a ship fly into an ice world, and we see Baby Yoda step out on this fresh snow. And so I was wondering, thanks to my husband, Brendan, is this Illume where the Jedi get their Kyber crystals, and where approximately 20 years before Episode 7, where Starkiller Base is installed by the First Order? What do you guys think?
I think that is definitely an option because it is a Jedi stronghold.
Okay.
Yeah, I definitely think it's an option. I'm not as convinced on it just because, and this is kind of...
Could be Hoth too, I mean.
It could be Hoth. Could be, I would actually think it's more somewhere new potentially, but the idea of it being Ilum, for me, I know we're solid like 20 years out from Force Awakens when Starkiller Base is fully online, but if you think about what it took, they were designing and building the first Death Star before the end of the Clone Wars. So when the Republic was not even the Empire yet. And when you think about that amount of R&D to build that, to transform the planet into
look at the project managers shining.
Well, yeah.
I'm just like,
technically the First Order should already be there.
Yeah, I would think that the First Order is already, if they're not actually actively converting the planet into Starkiller Base.
So you're thinking it's just too risky, pretty much. Like the risk rules it out.
Well, and
either that, or we
would
would
know
see,
probably that they're there.
Yeah,
because
either that,
really
or we
knows
could see some early
are.
First Order people. Who knows? Maybe we'll see Ray Sloan.
Okay.
Well, if you could see Ray Sloan, I would be so happy.
I guess either way we'll see soon. And I mean, either way, it sounds like we're all excited. How about Colleen kick us off for scene 5?
And an order of sorcerers called Jedi.
You expect me to search the galaxy and deliver this creature to a race of enemy sorcerers?
This is the way.
Here to the water planet. Okay, we're on the ground level. We don't really know if it's ground per se or if it's an elevated city, elevated dock platform situation. This is probably Mon Cala.
Yep.
This would be really cool because basically the Mon Calamari tipped the scales for the rebellion with their modified battle cruisers. It was foreseen that the Mon Cala would do this, and so they started to reconfigure their basically cruise ships, like passenger cruise ships.
They were
into
passengers
battle
and
cruisers.
They were also like shipping. a lot, weren't
yes,
they?
a lot of cargo ships.
Yeah.
That suddenly became these really formidable battle cruisers. So that'd be kind of cool.
Yeah.
To link the Mon Cala directly into this arc.
And here's why we think it's probably Mon Cala, because if you do a little happy press pause button,
pausing.
yeah, you can see anywhere between 2 to what's possibly 4 Mon Calamari. There's 2 like off to the left and maybe 2 to the right in the background, and at least 6 to 7 Quarren. And then there's 2 other dudes. I'm not sure whom they belong to yet, if we'll ever find out, or of course that will spin off another kind of thing in another 20 years, because you see someone else who looks kind of fishy from behind, someone who's bluish gray and someone who's pink. So
fishy in more ways than one. They're suspicious.
They could be Nautilans if they have the long dreadlock tentacle things. They could be Nautilans, but yeah.
And you know who else is suspicious? Right as the armor drops the word Jedi.
Yes.
We see this sexy lass in black being forced wieldy because she's in a robe. And of course we know a robe means Jedi, right?
Or Sith.
Or Sith.
Or Sith, especially it's a black robe. It is a black robe.
Anakin be rocking the black
and Luke. When he starts, force choking people.
Yeah, and I love production editors who like totally lean into this. I love how she disappears, of course, as soon as the word sorcerer drops. And so and there is some debate maybe of her being a leftover Inquisitor. Friends of the pod, Matt and Sean have been debating that a little bit.
Which I think would be kind of cool. I'm not sold on it, but it's intriguing.
If she's like one of the last ones left, if she's rogue. Like if she was an Inquisitor and she went rogue, that would be really cool.
I'm very hopeful that this woman in black is Sabine Wren, although it is way too early to be certain. So here's kind of why I think there is at least a valid argument for this person being Sabine Wren. Of course, it's not a lock. We don't know it's a lock until we're told it's a lock. So we do know that Sabine can use the Force. Colleen and I have talked about Anders. We've all talked about this. So of course she's entitled to robe wearing.
She may not be full Jedi, but she's definitely in tune a little bit.
Yeah, and I have to say, from an aesthetic like Queens be queening, I would love to see Sabine Wren like in her badass black robes next to Ahsoka's white ones.
Would that make her the brother?
Listen, we're not going to no.
Yeah, we can't just hop into the Mortis arc.
We're not doing this right now. Anders,
but I somewhat agree. I agree with you. When I first saw it, I thought it was actually at the very first time I watched the trailer, I thought it was actually Ming-Na Wen coming back. Yeah. She played the bounty hunter in season 1, who actually only lasted 1 episode. And I was like, oh my God, she survived. She didn't die. This is going to be so cool. Yes. And then when I watched it again, I was like, no,
that's Sasha
Banks. Not her. That is Sasha Banks, who's been cast in a mystery role for season 2. But I think she fits the bill to be a Sabine.
We'll see. And there was also whispers of someone else, Colleen. We won't do too much, but dabble in it for us.
Yes. I had a couple of people ping me and ask me, or were very excited and said, oh my gosh, did you see in the trailer? That's Ventress.
I mean, I would love to see Ventress.
And I was
I
like,
would love to see Ventress.
What?
But
I said, who? What? And they're like, this person. I'm like, oh, Sasha Banks. To answer that, read Dark Disciple.
Yeah, that's our final word on
Dark Disciple. Yes. I like the idea too. Our friend Matt floated this from another source that she could be a Dathomirian witch, not necessarily a Night Sister, because there are other clans of Dathomirian witches that were not Night Sisters. So that would be kind of cool to get another Force user in live action who's not a Jedi or a Sith.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to see that. Like, yes, just keep stretching with what the Force means, who can access it, get all the people that are cranky that it should only be Jedi or Sith.
And that could feel very cool with the more Western-y style of The Mandalorian. I just think from a narrative sense, it makes a lot of sense if it's Sabine Wren. But listen,
to fit the
narrative, please me in other ways.
It absolutely makes sense. But I love the idea of them because they in the animated shows, they expanded so much about what the Force is and what it means and who can use it, how you can use it. So to bring that into some of the more like high-profile live-action stuff would be really cool.
Yeah. And you know what else is really cool? Scene 6.
Scene 6.
Scene 6, where we get to see X-Wings in a flight pattern to what I would say chase scene, because the S-foils were not, but turn into lock position.
Yes, I'm hoping for some more director cameos here.
That would be
were each manned by a director from an episode, so I kind of want them to kind of continue that tradition if they're not like major characters. It's just kind of a cool way to, and
they're
that's also like a background special feature thing.
Warning him away would be my guess. Like they're flying to be like, identify yourself, please leave.
Exactly. And so people had predicted, so far to date, there have only been 2 kind of breakdown videos that I thought were really good. And those 2 people had predicted that it seems to be cooperative because the S-foils were not in the attack position when they're flying in formation. Okay, fair enough. But formations and drama and action don't always last in that way, and you do see the S-foils open when they get to that chase scene in the clouds. So I kind of predict from a temporal sense, although what do I know? I'm only predicting. I'm only guessing. We're guessing. We're making an educated guess that this is why we see Mando's ship injured in at least 2 places in the opening trailer. It's unclear.
Also mean he takes out 2 X-wings.
his escort goes wrong.
Yeah,
could be.
Yes.
Now let's quickly move to scene 7. Colleen, why don't you break it down for us? Because this reminds me a lot of kind of opening at the close, right?
Yes. Yep. This is probably Navarro. This is where Cara Dune and Grief Karga, I love him, decided to stay to kind of reopen the bounty hunter.
I'm a little upset we didn't get him walk out and just be like, Mando!
I know.
Yeah, they're very reserved now. They're like the oligarchy of the location now.
For real. He looks great, though. I mean, he looked really stately. They looked like they were in kind of fancier clothes.
Yes,
a bit more bright colors. Like, actually, he's doing his job instead of being just a drunken bounty hunter leader. He's actually kind of doing the magistrate job.
Absolutely.
And what happened to Moff Gideon, though? If he's if he crash landed on that planet,
that's a fair question. Bum, bum, bum.
We don't know because we don't see him.
Yes.
Anders, how about you get us to scene 8?
You know this is.
Yes. So we're still there. We're still in Navarro. We have those modified TIE fighters looking awesome as they kind of take off and land. Again, Moff Gideon is not in sight. Maybe he's made his way back and is stealing one. We don't know. We get some shots of we get some shots of stormtroopers running down this hallway before they speed her off of a cliff into this like cannon thing. This was
such
like
a cool
one of the most like I was gonna say this is actually one of my favorite shots of the trailer. Just the way that they're
showing what a speeder can
banging
do.
off the walls and they're not falling off. You know, they're not just like tripping over a rock. So stormtroopers leveling up a little bit.
Stormtroopers being competent.
Not hitting Baby Yoda.
We do not speak of that.
But the question is also, you know, what are they chasing? What are they after in this? So Cara Dune's probably still there. You see that river of lava. That, you know, we saw something very similar at the end of season 1 when IG-88 made that sacrifice.
I loved that scene, and I love that droid.
Either in this trailer.
Yeah, so far.
So
far, we'll see. And you know what else we'll see? A ton of different mashup places that we've already talked about in scene 9.
No place for a child. Wherever I go, he goes.
So I kind of
Mando was drowning or almost going to drown in one of those scenes.
Which we know is not going to happen. So like move along.
Right, just to up the tension a little bit. Let's pretend that Din Djarin could die.
And how about that final scene, what I think is going to be one of the obviously most pivotal moments of episode 1 to episode 3. I really think it's up to the first 3 episodes. Why don't you 3 take it, and then I'll take the child's reaction.
So I've heard. This is the way.
Yes. Yeah, this is the Gamoran. You see them in the ring with their vibro axes. Oh, it looks so cool. Jon Favreau actually tweeted out a sketch picture maquette of a Gamoran for his kind of tease of season 2, so we knew that they were going to show up.
Yeah.
This could be on Tatooine, because the Gamoran guard from Jabba's palace would be jobless.
Also seems like a good Tatooine seems like a good place for a fight club.
Yes,
for
a
sure.
fight club would
For
totally
sure.
be on Tatooine. We get this great quote, "This is no place for a child."
He's
Fucking
50.
Obviously, it's not a place for a child in this fight club. This guy sounds like Jon Favreau. I think it could be him under all that makeup this time. He voiced
I think that
has
makes sense.
Vizsla from the other season, from season 1, but this
Fun.
time it looks like he could be in this makeup. And this is that Cyclops kind of looking guy. They're called Abyssins, so it's kind of like going into the abyss.
Fun.
Are we, Mando? Are we signaling something else that's coming? Possibly a Sarlacc
What does that
pit of
mean?
an abyss.
Oh, okay. I was like, what are you hinting at, Colleen?
I mean, yes, the abyss staring back at you is basically the Sarlacc, so that could be.
And you know what?
It's something.
I'll say that even though this is no place for a child, in my opinion, Baby Yoda is totally chilled and relaxed, because Baby Yoda recognizes these whistling birds and, like, yes, immediately nopes out of there, but it's clear that Baby Yoda trusts Mando and is not worried about the odds, because Baby Yoda has known when Din has not handled the situation and has pulled in backup support. But right now, Baby Yoda is just like, listen, I don't have to be here for this. I'm just not gonna get hit by one of these whistling birds.
And he's like, nope.
Close my walking cradle. Like, no, it's not for me.
And did someone want to comment on the Mandalorian logo color at all before we get into predictions and reactions? Because I think that's our last little talking point.
Well, the last scene from there in the fighting pit where he kills the Zabrak and he says, "This is the way." Apparently just full-on murder is the way, so that's fine.
He's protecting the child.
As long as he's protecting the child, that's fine.
That's like a Rick and Morty thing. As long as we're saving the girl, Morty, as long as we're saving the girl, it's totally fine.
It's fine. It's fine. We can purge everyone in here. That's fine.
Yes.
Yeah, the logo is really cool. It's blue this time, which is a little different. Usually the second has been red in Star Wars. A lot of times you get the red logo for the second installation. This one is blue, and it includes the child this time. Amanda's like looking down at him, looking like so cute. The season 1 was kind of a yellowish gold color with just Mando alone. So now he's not alone.
I think that really just is somewhat going to signify getting a little into prediction territory.
Yeah, let's move in. You know what? Let's do it.
The importance of that blue planet. It's going to be the importance of that blue planet, the water planet. So we were desert,
and blue is the primary Jedi color.
Now we're into blue.
Well, why don't we more fully get into reactions and predictions? So, Anders, let's start with you. What was your kind of overall reaction, and if there's any other little predictions that we're still missing from you?
So, I mean, if you guys can't tell, I am just pumped for this. I am so excited to watch this season. Throughout, I will say I was expecting to see a little bit more of, because we've been teased for the past year on some of the season 2 casting news. You know?
Colleen, that's a little hot and bothered. That was a little.
So I was like a little surprised. As I was watching it, I was half expecting to see some kind of a shot of like Ahsoka's white lightsabers. If we didn't get a full facial shot, maybe just like see her hand down by her side and you see the white saber ignite.
Oh, I think they're saving that.
Or something like that. Some kind of a teaser shot, or something with Katie Sackhoff as Bo-Katan. Kryze. Rumors that Timothy Oliphant is playing Cobb Vanth. Got that Tatooine sheriff look. So I was a little surprised that we only got the Sasha Banks look. Mostly because we're actually not that far out from when this is coming. We're like
few weeks, 6 weeks,
like 6 weeks out.
Yeah, end of October.
I don't know. Time means nothing anymore though. So that's
time
also
is a flat circle.
This could be actually very
years in the future. This is actually
and trailers. I don't know.
Yeah, we're actually listening in a galaxy far, far away, a long time ago.
I'm just really excited to see how this journey to find ostensibly what we've been wondering about since 1980, which is like where does Yoda come from? If you're actually searching for his people, it's
George
something
Lucas won't tell.
He won't tell. So I'm also kind of thinking that we're not actually, in true Yoda tradition, we're not actually going to get a straight answer on this ever.
Not until the last.
It'll be like
second.
his
very last
we will
season.
See his people are truly the Jedi. So this is actually a quest just to find the Jedi. But that idea of finding his historical people, his historical family versus this new family, this chosen family, which is always a great dynamic in fantasy storytelling. And it's also something you can almost never go wrong with. So I'm just really excited to see how that plays out.
Nice. And any predictions?
Any other predictions other than what we've already said? I don't think I have any more.
Cool. How about you, Colleen? Your reactions and predictions.
Oh, you say Timothy Oliphant, and I'm like, smooth. And Cobb Vanth, I would be so excited if we get Cobb Vanth, because then we would get scenes of Freetown, which is Cobb Vanth was a former slave who becomes kind of the sheriff of Tatooine, not necessarily the whole planet, because of course it's a huge planet, but Freetown, and he actually has Boba Fett's armor. So we could also get Boba Fett coming out of the Sarlacc pit, stripping off his armor and being like, fuck this, I'm out. I don't care anymore. And Cobb Vanth picking it up. But then if we get Boba Fett, we could also get Tamora Morrison, which I would also be really excited about. And he could also be playing Rex. We don't know exactly. There are rumors also.
He could play just about anybody.
He could either be Boba, he could be a clone trooper of some kind. Rex and Boba are kind of the forefront of the guesses on that. This is basically what we've been waiting for this entire year, or ever since season 1 ended. We've been waiting for this trailer to drop. It's just stunningly shot. We see all of the familiar faces and some kind of tantalizing new ones. But they're also hiding things. We don't get Giancarlo Esposito. We don't get Moff Gideon. There's no Darksaber. No Rosario Dawson, who is, like we've said, reportedly playing Ahsoka. No Timothy Oliphant. No Tamora Morrison. No other season 1 antagonists. So no Bill Burr. No Natalia Tina.
Well, they got blown up.
They didn't get blown up. They're just on they're on the prison ship, which might be why the X-Wings are also after him if they were caught and interrogated. We don't know if they didn't send him after the Mandalorian. It was just, the trailer was just so artfully done. The music was beautiful, not super Star Wars-y, but also kind of in that vein a little bit. I really just can't wait for Din to learn more about little Shammy Shake, about his little son. And because that is how we are going to learn more about Yoda's species, through this protagonist and through little baby Yoda, as they're both kind of wandering around. It seems like they're wandering aimlessly around the galaxy. He's not a research guy. I don't know how he's going to get to places unless someone tells him where to go. Because the armor is like, yes, you have to go find his people, and he just looks clueless.
Well, that's fair. How?
How am I supposed to do that? And he's not a Ravenclaw, guys. Like, this is not.
No, but also, I mean, the Empire got rid of a lot of the libraries,
Yes.
so
Right.
it's not like the
So
resources.
there's no
to do this
resources.
Are available,
There are no
yeah.
readily
resources.
accessible.
He would actually probably try and find the Rebellion or New Republic people just because he would only know that Luke Skywalker might be a Jedi from the rumors that are going around. Like, oh, there's this maybe Force user. He seems kind of dark and mysterious. We don't know. He's over there. He's friends with Princess Leia.
I don't know, he can give Masa Meta something to do while he's basically quarantined on Coruscant.
Exactly.
Use some of those Coruscant resources.
And what about
Right?
predictions, Colleen?
Yes, predictions. Okay, I know. I really do not want Sasha Banks to be Sabine.
Boo. But that's okay. Why? Give us the reverse. Give us the reverse.
I want her to be an Asian actress.
Okay.
I think that absolutely makes sense.
She's such an icon for the Asian-inspired Star Wars characters.
Yeah.
And I really was pulling for Jessica Henwick, even though she's already been a Star Wars character. She's Jess. She's one of Wedge Antilles' kind of fighter pilots. But she was only a bit character. So I'm like, okay, she could come back and totally be Sabine. She has the fighting background. She's a really great actress. She would be fantastic. But if it is Sabine, that's okay too. At least she's a woman of color. I'm like, yes, okay, woman of color. At least we've got that. And we'll most likely get her and Ahsoka, who is also going to be played by a woman of color, talking to Mando about the child. Because at least Ahsoka will know what little Shammy Shake is. Be like, oh yeah, Yoda.
Yeah.
Yoda.
I've seen this.
I've seen this before. Like only twice. Yaddle and Yoda. But at least she'd have an idea kind of what to do. Even if they're a pit stop. Like, of course, Sabine and Ahsoka are searching for Ezra and Thrawn. So it would most likely just be a pit stop. Even if Mando does say kind of like, do you want to take the baby? Like, you seem like a Jedi. Would you like to take the baby? And Ahsoka's going to be like, no.
Nah,
I am no Jedi. I am no Jedi. And Sabine also will be like, we can't take a baby to the unknown regions. Like, it's just not, no. So I think they'll be just more like a way station on the trip. Yeah. And they could point them towards Ilum or any other Jedi temple situations because Ahsoka would at least have that knowledge. Like he's basically going to have to search for people who have knowledge.
Right. Which I love. Which is great.
Yes, the search for knowledge. And if they found Yaddle, that'd be great because she has not died that we know of in Disney canon. So it'd be kind of cool.
That would be wild.
That would be wild.
She did die in Legends. Like she did die in Legends, but we don't know if she's dead in canon.
I can't imagine she survived Order 66.
Probably not.
Yeah, I can't imagine.
Or she's so deep in hiding that they would never find her.
Well, either way, I think we're in for a wild ride this season, and I am definitely excited and ready. Like Colleen said, beautiful filmography and imagery. I absolutely loved it. And kind of to open at the close, I am really hoping to see the Jedi and Mandalorians come together. For both of them, if you watch the last episode of season 1 for the opening, recap, it makes it very clear that for the Mandalorians, it's about survival and secrecy and numbers are dwindling and all of these things. Well, that sounds like someone else we know, right?
Yes.
Our secrecy is our survival. Our survival is our strength. I would really love to see these two forces come together and stay together through the power of this foundling youngling.
I would love if Ezra taught him.
Oh my goodness, that would be wild.
Much. I don't think it's going to happen, but
that would be wild, Colleen.
That's not like a drama series. That's a sitcom.
Yeah.
Oh god, that would be hysterical for real. It would be hysterical.
Why don't we make this last prediction? I think that there's going to be at least one more trailer dropped. Do you guys think that there's going to be one more trailer dropped or no?
There could be like a teaser, maybe.
Okay.
A scene teaser.
Okay.
They keep things pretty close to the vest.
They do. I'm going to say, just thinking about how TV tends to get advertised.
That's what I'm thinking.
I was surprised it wasn't advertised more like during football. Like, why was this not on Monday Night Football?
Yeah. So I think.
Which is weird.
I would say max one more full trailer.
Yeah, right.
And then maybe, excuse me, maybe 1 or 2 like 30-second clips, like a previewing a scene, or mostly footage from the existing trailer being cut down into 30-second TV spots.
Yeah.
Maybe
Well,
we'll get a shot or something
voiceover,
different.
maybe new music.
Well, I think that's a great place for us to leave it here today. I want to thank you guys all for being with us, and come back next time when we continue to explore our fandoms together. Remember, if you prefer enjoying us on our podcast format, you can head over there onto iTunes, TuneIn, Spotify, or wherever you listen to your podcast. And if you're listening to your podcast and wondering what us fine folks look like, head over onto YouTube and hit that little subscribe button and whatever you're supposed to do there. Because in the meantime, what you can do is you could comment on this video, let us know what you think, and help us grow by telling other nerdy knights to join in and reaching out to us via email at bohemiangeekstudies@gmail.com, just letting us know what you're interested in. So I think until next time, let's lift those sabers up and keep those episodes streaming. Thanks,
Cheers,
all.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye.